Yeah, thank you. Back to what I mentioned as initiative. Maybe I can answer the question through another example of cooperation that we tried to establish in the last 1.5 years. Uh, it's a pure South-South cooperation example. Well, we saw the need of contextualizing this cooperation because it's very important when we talk about exchange of experience to put countries with sharing the same challenges, sharing the same bottlenecks, and sharing the same vision. Therefore, we established an alliance for Africa called Industry 4.0, Alliance for Industry 4.0 and Smart Manufacturing Alliance, ASMA in short. And this alliance is built around 6 pillars. The first pillar is how to support application of the new digital technologies and artificial intelligence for industry. So it's about supporting industry to adopt those technologies. The second pillar is about supporting the continental technology providers. We discovered that there are a huge amount of technology providers,
South-South and Triangle cooperation to ensure efficient technology and knowledge transfer on mutually agreed terms while also safeguarding the foundations of local innovation mechanisms. And what has been the experience of the European Commission development assistance in that respect? Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you very much for the question. I think it's quite a difficult one. What are the most effective mechanisms, especially in the context of digital governance, where we've only been working, I would say, for the last couple of years in our international cooperation. But let's give it a try. So I think talking about mechanism, maybe back to basics, a lot of what we are working on with our partner countries is located under our Global Gateway investment strategy. And this Global Gateway instrument does cater also for the different types of triangular and South-South cooperation that I mentioned before. So the idea of the Global Gateway is to offer an alternative offering to partner countries to work on investments, but not only on hard infrastructure, also on investments in education, skills, policy, regulatory support, financing, and so on. Now, the core element here is, I would say, sustainability. It was mentioned earlier today, because we're talking about effective mechanisms, right? So the mechanism should be sustainable. That's why I mention it. And when we talk about sustainability in Global Gateway, we mean financially sustainable for the different partners involved, environmentally sustainable, but also
Brazil, by India, by the Philippines, who have new technologies, which at that point in time they were really lagging behind, and we have seen this happening. But to answer your question, obviously there should be determination, there should be political will, there should be geopolitical peace and stability. And I would say, I'm not talking about the capacity building, the academia, the private sector and the economy and so on, but really and truly, it's you have to put your heart into it. As we've seen, I mentioned those countries because they have, for example, I was impressed by the Philippines in giving the empowerment to the female sectors with all those islands and
of digital development or technological development has increased considerably. And not just awareness, it has also translated to, I would say, a strong political support that was perhaps not there 15 or 20 years ago. But also the awareness on the importance of building an independent digital state. So these questions around how do we guarantee connectivity, how do we make sure that we do not, in our, let's say, compute power, become dependent on one or the other country or one or the other company. These questions, I believe, are much higher in the agenda of all the countries we have collaborated with recently than they were ever before, and I would say that this is a very important, let's say, movement or step in this digitalization. And I have to say also that I have personally seen very impressive fast developments among our partners, some of it we can also learn ourselves here in Estonia. But of course, there have been also some shortcomings into how we have collaborated, and I addressed actually some of them in my very opening statement. And one of them is really related to the fact that often we forget the basics in digitalization. New terms come, new trends merge, and we forget that sometimes we cannot leapfrog some steps before we have the basics set. So for many years, digitalizing data, building public registries, how to build interoperability between these public registries, how to digitally authenticate people. So I would say that it's very core building blocks of digitalization where, I wouldn't say neglected, but they were not really high on the agenda because new cool terms emerged, the blockchain, AI that we all talk about it, but actually not having the base infrastructure to support that. But still I would say that the discourse on the public goods, is the public infrastructure that we recently seen emerging in the globe has put emphasis on this very core that sometimes maybe is a bit boring when you want to be a cool digital minister, you don't want to deal with these basics that we all know about, but you want to do something new. The other thing that I also refer to is actually a lot of the application in our development.